I accidentally ran across your line, but after hearing one of your guests, I think her name was Casey, talking about the bukkake thing, I never really understood what that was until I heard her talking about it. But I was married for 35 years. I'm 68 right now. I retired a couple years ago. But my wife died about 3 years ago. And I just never really got out there to try to find another relationship. What I did do was I got really deep into porn, phone sex, some of these sites like Flinkster. But that's how I've been, that's been my sex. And I've actually really enjoyed it. But after she died and all this started, I reconnected with an old friend that I'd had probably in my late 20s. And he also was divorced. And we went out and had a drink. We talked for probably an hour. And he invited me back to his place. And go back, and the first thing he does is pop in some porn. And so I really felt pretty comfortable. And he fixed us both a drink. He disappears into the bedroom, comes back out totally naked, and sits down on the sofa and watching the porn, and starts playing with his cock and starts stroking it. Well, that made me feel pretty comfortable too. So I stripped down and I started stroking, and we're really getting into it and, loving the masturbation. And he said, I got some buddies coming over. And he said, I really want you to meet them. And yeah, I would love to meet your buddies. I kind of assumed that we were going to get dressed again, but no, they come over knocking on the door. He answers the door, and 4 of his buddies are there, and they just join right in. They strip down, and so we're all sitting here watching porn, stroking our cocks, and he asked me. He said, "Is there a fantasy that you always had?" So I said, "Yeah." I said, "I do. I've had a fantasy, since my wife died and I got into masturbation and porn." I said, "I've had this fantasy that I would love to be covered in cum." I said, "I don't know why that is, but I've always had this fantasy of laying on like a coffee table and guys standing around me stroking their cocks and then just nutting all over me." And he looked at his buddies and they're all kind of laughing, and he said, "Well, let's make it happen." And so, yeah, we put pillows on the coffee table, and all of his buddies are standing around me, and I'm thinking, man, this is amazing. This is awesome. And I mean, yeah, that's the way it happened. They were coming all over me, mostly on my face, because I asked. I said, "Please just cover my face." That was my fantasy, to just have my face covered with cum. So they all came on my face. I cleaned their cocks up, sucked what was left of it, scooped up all the cum on my face, and got my belly full of cum that night. And we've done that many times since. And it's been amazing. This is more pleasurable, much more fulfilling to me than my sex life with my wife ever was. And she was a horny little bitch, and we fucked all the time. But man, I'm telling you, as I get older, cock is becoming my preference. I love sucking cock. I love cum, and yeah, plan to have quite a few more years of bukkake fun. Love it, love it, love it.